Good morning, guys. Carnivore Invictus here. Just wanted to do a quick talk. My boy Carnivore JT, I call him my boy, I don't really know him, but I follow him and he follows me and we interact sometimes. He did a video kind of talking about, you know, the science worshipers, and they're trying to tell us that it really doesn't matter when a study comes out. It doesn't matter if there's conflict of interest and who funded the study and who ran the study. You know, it doesn't really matter, you know, I mean, so even when, you know, you take a study on whether or not cholesterol causes heart disease, and that study is funded by multiple corporations who sell cholesterol lowering drugs, and then in the conclusion, the study recommends you take those same drugs that you know those corporations make billions of dollars in profit over, which are literally suicidal. A statin is, if you're taking a statin, you're just committing suicide. It's unbelievably foolish, unbelievably reckless. That is some weaponized stupidity and ignorance, and it really permeates our entire culture. Because people don't understand marketing, they don't understand mind control, they don't understand how their minds are manipulated, and the people who do marketing and dark occult mind control people, they're very, very advanced at this, guys. They're very, very good at it. They know you. If you don't know yourself at all, then they definitely know you better than you know yourself. And they might, even in my like relatively advanced understanding of their tactics, they still might know me more than I know myself. For all I freaking know, you know what I mean? Like you know the metaphor of the Matrix is that you just unplug and there's the real world. It doesn't work like that in real time. You have to unlearn the programming. You have to, you know, it's not coming from an external source. It is coming from an external source, but you can't disconnect from that external source and then see the real world. You know what I mean? You have to deprogramming, and that is a lifelong endeavor. Because I was probably half my life into the Matrix before I even realized I was in the Matrix. And then, you know, so I got like 35 years worth of deprogramming to do. All my, you know, especially during my formative years, I went to high school and elementary school where I was, you know, like 8 hours a day for 12 years, you know, 5,000 hours of programming. So it's not just, but the cholesterol, saturated fat, you know, lie, it was never true, not even a little bit, not from day one. It was science. It was marketing disguised as science. Oh, my hand's in the way here, sorry guys. From day one, and that is the perfect example of how they get us, because you're trying to find out why humans have modern chronic illnesses, and then this marketing, this evil marketing machine bought the science and convinced you that the food that you've been eating for millions of years before certain agricultural products like massive amounts of sugar and industrial products like seed oils, which are machine lubricants, that these things were actually good for you, and that the food that you've been eating for millions of years before that, millions of years before these modern diseases became like really chronic, really epidemic, heart disease, diabetes. You didn't get diabetes. And, you know, like in all the old time textbooks and old time doctors, when someone had diabetes, they said, eat meat, eat nothing but meat. You will cure your diabetes. They knew it was the carbohydrates from day one. But the marketing is so insidious that they actually convinced people. They actually somehow managed to convince people to just totally forget the entire scope of human history. And vegans are really bad at this, because they'll try and tell you that you're an herbivore, which basically means that, you know, agriculture has been around for what, I don't know, like maybe 10,000 years, 6,000. I don't even know how long it's been since agriculture became predominant in the human experience. It's only been a few thousand years, as opposed to 2+ millions of years before that, where humans were hyper-carnivorous apex predators. We have the most acidic stomach in the entire animal kingdom. We're down there with vultures, which a lot of people suggest means that we started off as scavengers, and then our ravenous desire for meat caused us, not only did the saturated fat and cholesterol in the meat help our brains grow, but we wanted more meat, so we learned how to hunt. And learning how to hunt, you have to develop tactics and tools and weapons, and that caused our brains and our intelligence to grow. A lot of people say that's what made us human, is eating meat. So it is absolutely fucking absurd now to say that diabetes and heart disease are caused, and cancer are caused, these modern, relatively recent, like most of these things weren't even around 100 years ago. Barely. Like everybody got freaked out when Eisenhower had a heart attack. He was smoking. He was a really, really heavy smoker. Like, I don't know how many packs of cigarettes he smoked a day, but it was a lot. And we know that cigarette smoking causes heart disease. So, the food companies, which, this plant agriculture is so profitable, so much more profitable than agriculture. Their marketing took over and said, you're getting heart disease and all of these modern diseases because you're eating your ancestral diet, which is absolutely absurd. But the propaganda is so strong. That's the epitome of it. The propaganda is so powerful that they were actually convinced people that their ancestral diet was causing modern diseases, was causing modern epidemic levels of disease that never existed before. An obese person used to be so rare that they featured him in carnival events. Like, look how fat this guy is, because nobody was that fat. And now you go to Walmart and you see people heavier than those carnival attractions. Everybody is obese. They can't even walk. I mean, does anybody actually go out in public and observe this shit, or do you just tune it out? Because I'm the one. Because I don't. It's not really that I'm just I'm just an observer. I never ever want to walk out in the public and just see this as normal. I never ever want to see sick people and just be oblivious to that, because it's not. It's vicious, and it's cruel, and it's insidious, and it's done on purpose. And we have to take responsibility for our own lives. But the fact of the matter is, especially today, most of these kids, by the time they reach adulthood, are already addicted. By the time they're old enough to make their own decisions and pay for their own decisions, their parents have already fucked them 6 ways to Tuesday. And then and then people who don't understand addiction will come out and say, "Oh, it's your choice to be obese. It's your choice to be diabetic." And it kind of is, but you were already addicted before you had the choice. And the addicted mind is not a rational mind, guys. It's not logical. The addiction does the thinking for you. And anybody who is in this field of trying to get humanity out of this diseased funk that we're in, knows that the vast majority of people you expose this information to reject it forcefully because they're addicted. Try telling an alcoholic to put the bottle down. Now you get the same reaction. And my mom was an alcoholic, and I was worried about her, and I said, maybe you should drink less, and then the reaction was very, very hostile. So even if you're someone like me who I'm carnivore and I'm pretty strict. I mean, the only plant product I eat is a hot sauce, either the habanero garlic or the sriracha hot sauce from Melinda's. That's like my one plant-based indulgence. But other than that, I do drink coffee, and I can't tolerate dairy very well, so I use full-fat coconut milk. All right, so those two. So coffee, those three: coffee, hot sauce, and coconut milk for my coffee. So, but I'm very, very restrictive. So anybody, but a lot of people like us, they might not know, you know, there's so many other forms of mind control. I mean, there's the marketing with the food and everything, but there's also like the government, the COINTELPRO, you know, and I'm sorry to say, you people who worship Trump and Elon Musk, you think you're awake. I promise you, you're not awake, and I'm not saying that to be mad. Trump is not going to help you. Elon Musk is really showing his ass. And I think at this point, if you don't realize what a piece of garbage Elon Musk is and always has been, I mean, he's just showing his true colors. If you don't see that now, I mean, he really showed his ass, and anybody who still thinks he's a free speech maverick is really delusional. And a lot of people fell hard and violently for the COVID hoax. You know, they really they went after their neighbors, and they gave themselves injections, and they're just ticking time bombs for sudden death or turbo cancer. Sorry to say. And now they think they're awake. You're like, oh, I'm awake now. I'm like, oh, you're awake now after you took the shots and after you wore the mask and after you you wanted to have your neighbors thrown in prison and have their jobs taken away. For now, you're awake, and you haven't even apologized for it. You haven't even apologized for your behavior. You don't even know why you behaved the way you did. You don't understand the psychological reasons why you fell for such an obvious psyop. It was so obvious they told you. They were telling you every day it was a psyop. I think someone's car alarm was going off. Sounded like they were beeping at me. You know, and most people are like, oh, we're awake now. And like, but you haven't even examined the psychological reasons why you fell for that in the first place. So you're going to fall for it again. And you're going to do it again. And because most people, in my opinion, most people knew the COVID hoax was a hoax. But they complied for several reasons. A, they didn't want to lose their job. B, they didn't want to lose their business. C, they didn't want to get arrested. And D, the most powerful form of psychological manipulation of all, they were scared to death that people were just going to think they were mean. If you didn't wear the mask and you went out in public, people were you were just like a giant sore thumb, and everybody's looking at you, and they think that you are just the most scummy, uncaring piece of garbage in the world. And that's what people feared the most. Like, don't think bad of me. I don't want to rock the boat. I'm a nice person. I'll just wear the mask to make you feel better. And that was the most, I think, the most insidious form of psychological manipulation. The most insidious form of mind control is everybody's utter sheer terror and panic of the way other people will perceive them. So, and I've been, awakening isn't just figuring out the new world order and the globalists and the Satanists and everything. Awakening is figuring out your own shadow, learning your own shadow, and rectifying all of the unresolved trauma that is behind your shadow. And that is a process that takes many, many years, if not, you know, like if you speak to the Buddhists, that takes lifetimes to break the wheel of samsara and enter nirvana. You don't just figure out that COVID was a hoax and then go around pretending you're awake now so I can go back to watching football and eating king cakes and drinking beer and voting for Trump and waving my flag and, you know, just all the other nonsense and distraction and trivia and bread and circuses everybody's enamored with. You're not awake. You're not. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm trying to tell you, hey, there's still work to be done. And I was having this conversation with my wife's cousin. Well, I'll just call him my brother. I mean, he's like my brother. You know, I said this during COVID, you know what I mean? People were just getting their skin into the game and acting like they were winning. And my friends, this race has already been won. This race has already been run. The starting gun went off, and the people and the participants crossed the finish line before you even knew what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, and especially now, I mean, 5 years after COVID, after the economy's been destroyed, you have enormous amounts of work to do, not just spiritual, but I mean, just preparation for the coming, collapse of our economy and the coming collapse of our civilization. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, for me, I don't even really think we have any chance of saving it. So, like, for me, as so-called prepared that I am, I got food, I've got metals, I've got ammo and guns stored, but I mean, I don't know how to survive a post-apocalyptic world, guys. I don't know how to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to, I don't even know how to hunt. You know what I mean? Like, I've gone hunting before, but I've never even seen a deer out in the wild while I was hunting, you know? I'm an amateur at these things. I don't know what I'm doing. And my God, I'm gonna be overwhelmed by the zombie hordes when the whole thing goes down. These people don't have anything. People who don't have anything, they're just be running around scavenging for what everybody else has. You know, Sweet Karen down the street will cut your throat for a can of beans after 9 missed meals, as the saying goes. So I'm not even ready. You know what I mean? Like for me right now is just preparing myself psychologically for suffering and death, and not being afraid, and getting myself right with God, and just, you know, like there's the world, and then there's society, and I need to get my spirit out of society and into the world, which is still beautiful. You know, the universe, the great spirit, which is still beautiful, which is all beauty and light and all of its wondrous elegance and, you know, beauty. I need to put my heart and my spirit there, especially while, you know, things are still relatively stable. But anyway, yeah, so there's so much work to get done. I mean, like, just because there's a lot of work to be done and the time seems to be short doesn't mean you still shouldn't do the work. But understand, if you think you're not under mind control, sorry, I keep blocking this damn camera with my fingers. If you think you're not under mind control, you are definitely under mind control. You're absolutely under mind control. Even I know that I'm under mind control. I still have programming that I need to deprogram. And I see it every day because it's just habits. You know, it's just habits that need to be broken. And it's very difficult because what you resist persists. So the more you resist the habits, the more they persist. The more they, you know, the more you fight them, the more you manifest them. You know, it's very difficult just to let go. You know, become conscious of them and not react to them. You know, observing yourself without judgment is the height of intelligence, I believe, is what Krishnamurti says. So that's just what I'm doing. That's what I recommend you do. I mean, do the work, of course. Get right with God, first of all. Like, just get your head and your mind and your spirit out of this world. Stop consuming the garbage. Because I tell you what, you know, Rudolf Steiner, I don't know if he said this as a warning or as something he was bragging about. A lot of the social engineers of the 20th century bragged they were going to do this. Bertrand Russell, Aldous Huxley. And I don't really know if they were bragging about it or just saying this is what the future will be. And they were kind of warning about it or just making it as a statement of fact. Bertrand Russell sure as shit sounded like he was bragging about it because he was exciting. But the social engineer said that in the future you were going to have humans like you have today that were soulless, that were mindless. Rudolf Steiner talked about eliminating the human soul with medicine. And so you have got, and the medicine is in that soul-destroying medicine is in our food now, guys. You have got to stop consuming that shit. You've got to stop consuming the sugar and the ultra-processed foods and the seed oils and all the chemical flavor enhancers that are rotting your brain. You've got to stop taking the Ozempic that's rotting your eyes and rotting your muscles and rotting your everything. You've got to stop. You've got to get yourself completely out of this world. And if you think that you can't do that without drugs and interventions, you're wrong. You're just fucking wrong. Because I did it. I'm doing it. Aging in reverse. I'm 50 years old, for fuck's sake. And so you've got to, you can't connect the spirit if your hardware is all gummed up, because the spirit doesn't, you know, the spirit plays through you like your consciousness doesn't exist in your brain. Your consciousness exists in the field, and like a radio, your brain picks up your frequency and plays and it comes through like a radio. You know, trying to find consciousness in the brain is like trying to find the radio station in the, you know, trying to find an FM radio station in the radio. The signal's not coming from the radio, it's coming through the radio. And that's what your consciousness is, and your brain, and your hardware, your whole body, your heart. So you've got to get the gum up out of, you got to get the gum and the shit out of your system in order for the spirit to play through properly. Otherwise, you're just hamstringing yourself. You're never going to connect to God when you're eating king cake and Popeyes and fucking Taco Bell. You cannot connect to God doing that to yourself. So, you know, time is short. Time might be too short. I don't know. It probably doesn't matter, because even as advanced as I am, I'm still not prepared. You know, I'm still not ready. Not physically, but you can get yourself right spiritually. Because, you know, we're all going to die. One way or the other, we're all going to die. And the Stoics said, remember that you will die. You must die. And when you live your life with that knowledge in mind, instead of suppressing it, you live your life better. Memento mori. So, anyway, I'm kind of going off on tangents here. Control your mind, or someone else will, is all I can tell you. Stop eating the garbage. Eat your proper diet. Eat a clean diet. Go to the gym. Move. Get sunlight. Touch the grass. Get sleep. Stop drinking alcohol. For fuck's sake, stop drinking alcohol. You know, stop putting the garbage in your temple. You know, you Christians, a lot of you Christians, most of you Christians, a lot of my friends are Christians, and they're going to Popeyes. They're eating the king cake. And they say, no, you not, that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit that dwells within you. And you're just taking a giant steaming shit in your temple. And no wonder why you can't connect with God. So that's my message for you guys today. It always sounds like it's sullen and morose, but it's actually not if you just act on it. All right, love you guys.